The story of Gbewaa, origins, and the Great Migration long before the great kingdoms of northern Ghana were formed. Before the names Dagbon, Mampregu, or Nanang were spoken, the Sahel was a land of movement. Across wide plains where desert met savanna, people journeyed in search of survival, power, and freedom. It was from this restless world that Ngbo emerged. The elders say Gbewaa came from the east, from lands shaped by ancient rivers and long trade routes. His ancestry is remembered in stories that speak of the Chad Basin, the Upper Niger, and the old Masadagamba migration corridor. These were regions where peoples met, traded, fought, and learned to rule. From these lands, Gbewaa inherited strength, wisdom, and the knowledge of leadership. In those days, life in the Sahel was uncertain. The rains were unreliable, land grew tired, and rival groups competed for space and power. As hardship increased, Gbewaa gathered his people and spoke of a journey toward fertile land, safety, and independence. He did not promise an easy path, but he promised a future they could call their own. Under his leadership, the people began to move southward. They crossed dry plains where the sun burned the earth, and rivers that tested their strength and patience. Families walked with their children, cattle followed behind, and the sound of drums guided their steps. Though the journey was long and difficult, the people trusted Gbewaa, for he led not only with weapons, but with wisdom and spiritual authority. As they traveled, Gbewaa consulted elders and ancestors. Through rituals and prayer, he sought guidance, believing the unseen world walked beside them. This bond between leadership and spirituality strengthened the people, giving them courage when food was scarce and the road seemed endless. After many seasons of movement, the land began to change. The soil grew richer, trees stood taller, and water flowed more freely. At last, they reached a place near what is today the Ghana-Togo border. There, Gbewaa ordered the people to stop. This place was called Pusika. At Pusika, the long journey ended. Huts were built, farms were cleared, and the people rested. Gbewaa declared Pusika his first capital, a center of authority and protection. From this land, he ruled as king, warrior, and spiritual guardian. The people were no longer wanderers. They had become a nation. Pusika grew into a place of order and leadership. Gbewaa organized his people into clans and established systems of rule that ensured peace and cooperation. His authority was respected because it was rooted in fairness, strength, and ancestral approval. The migration led by Gbewaa did more than settle a people, it laid the foundation for future kingdoms. From this beginning would later rise Dagbon, Mampregu, Nanang, and the Mossi states. Though these kingdoms would one day stand apart, their roots remained the same. Thus, the journey of Gbewaa was not merely a movement across land. It was the birth of a legacy carried through generations, remembered in royal drums, praise songs, and the history of northern Ghana. Even today, when the story is told, the elders say that the road Gbewaa walked still lives in the blood of kings and in the land itself. The migration led by Gbewaa did more than settle a people, it laid the foundation for future kingdoms. From this beginning would later rise Dagbon, Mampregu, Nanang, and the Mossi states. Though these kingdoms would one day stand apart, their roots remained the same. Long before the great kingdoms of northern Ghana, before names like Dagbon, Mampregu, or Nanang were ever spoken, the Sahel was a land of constant movement. It was from this restless world that a great leader emerged. Gbewaa. The elders say he came from the east, from lands shaped by ancient rivers and powerful empires. As hardship grew in the Sahel, Gbewaa gathered his people. He spoke not of an easy path, but a journey toward fertile land, safety, and a future they could call their own. Under his leadership, they traveled south, crossing dry plains and wide rivers. The journey was long, but their trust in him never failed. After many seasons, they reached a place where the soil was rich and water flowed freely. This place was Pusika. Here, the long migration ended, and a new nation was born. Gbewaa established his capital, laying the foundation for the great kingdoms that would one day rise.
Hello, everyone. As a graphic designer, animator, and content creator, I get to live my passion every day. I'm so excited to share my work with all of you.